Owning a Zeiss Cine Lens was a dream I had for a very long time. For regular photography and time-lapse photography, I often chose the Zeiss lens because of the quality, the sharpness, and the unique bokeh and flaring. For my cinema camera, the Sony FX6, I also wanted to find the right glass, a real cinema lens from Zeiss. But these prime lenses can be a little expensive. It's that range where you have to decide between buying a lens for your camera or a new car, or a set of lenses or a house. So that's where I did some research to find the cheapest Zeiss cinema lenses, and I found a lens. 2 to be precise. The Zeiss CP.2 50mm t1.5 and the 21mm t2.9. And while CP stands for compact prime, they're still huge compared to my other photography lenses. The Batis 18mm is a bit smaller, but the Zeiss 55mm looks like a toy compared to the CP2. Looking at the optics, I wonder if this gigantic construction around the lenses is really necessary. The glass of the 50mm kind of hides in the middle of all of this metal housing. But well, I'm not a lens specialist and engineer. In any case, as expected, it is very high quality and well made. But how do you put a lens with a PL mount onto an E-Mount camera like the FX6 without having to use an adapter? Well, Zeiss offers an interchangeable lens mount, short IMS, for these lenses. This way you can replace the PL mount with an E-Mount. Let me show you how to do that. First of all, you have to find the correct mount for each lens, which can be quite tricky, since some CP2 lenses have the same IMS and others don't. If you're lucky, you can find one on eBay. New ones are still sold on some websites, but they're quite expensive. But when you've found the right one, you just need one screwdriver, a T6 Torx screwdriver. Unscrew the 8 screws around the glass. I suggest covering the glass with a tissue to prevent any damage from a screw falling down. When all screws have been unscrewed, the complete PL mount can be carefully removed. Again, I suggest covering the glass. Now the E-mount can be placed in the correct position. A small mark helps with the alignment. It's important that the focus marks on the lens are actually correct. So if a focus distance of 5 meters is set, the object at 5 meters distance should actually be in focus. That is why thin shims are supplied, all of which have a different thickness and different colors. These shims can become important later if the focus is not exactly right. But first, the E-mount can be screwed down. Zeiss recommends a maximum torque of 0.5 Newton meters. Since I don't have an appropriate screwdriver, I try to tighten the screws as gently as possible. And that's it, at least if the focus is right the first time. So let's connect the lens to the camera. Since I would like to use a black mist filter, I also added a fitting matte box. The correct focus distance is measured from the camera's sensor. That's where this little marking here comes into play. First, select the max aperture, in this case it's 1.5, and set the focus on the lens to 1.5 meters. Now place an object to focus on exactly 1.5 meters away from the sensor using a meter. As we can see, it's quite sharp, but not perfect. So let's move the object until it's sharp. That's roughly plus 1 centimeter. Since we had to move the object plus 1 centimeter to get it in focus, we now have to look at the table provided by Zeiss. The different thickness of the shims cause a different change in focus. In this example, we would have to place a shim with a thickness of 0.01 millimeters. So let's check the table. The silver one is the thinnest with 0.013 millimeters. And it's the best choice here. Please note that I'm using a yellow shim instead of the silver one to demonstrate the placement. I've removed it after recording since the focus on my lens was perfect without a shim. Fun side note, this yellow shim isn't even listed in its manual. However, to attach it, simply unscrew the mount again. The shim is placed in the intended position, and then the mount can be screwed back on. Another test shows it's perfectly sharp now. So now it's time to shoot. Enjoy the test footage. Do you like the look of these lenses? Do you own one yourself? I would love to see your feedback in the comments. This was Robin Seifert. Thanks for watching.